don't do this. This is why Canelo's not fighting Benavidez. Why would Canelo fight Benavidez, who's relatively unknown, and Benavidez beats him and Benavidez becomes overnight a superstar? That's Canelo's letting Benavidez make a name off of him.
So you're saying that you're gonna make...
If it was up to me, like we keep on saying, we want to see Benavidez. Canelo, hell of a fighter. But my personal opinion, he's ducking Benavidez. You know, that's just my personal opinion. And I'm allowed to speak my mind. That's just what it is. We want to see Benavidez.
David Benavidez isn't holding back after Canelo Alvarez's loss to Terence Crawford. The undefeated super middleweight champion is turning up the heat, claiming that Canelo is too scared to face him in the ring.
Can you not give us Canelo Benavidez? Why? Canelo, why? I do not understand it. You're demanding $200 million? Like, come on, dude. Basically, Canelo doesn't want to give us the good fights. Imagine if Canelo and Benavidez gets made. That's the Super Bowl of boxing. Boxing is on the rise. Canelo, don't screw it up for us. I thought I would never say this, but Canelo's scared. Literally, I thought I wouldn't. As a fighter, I know fighters are not scared. But wow, we've been begging Canelo. Please, Canelo, please.
Saul Canelo Alvarez refused to fight David Benavidez, claiming he didn't like Benavidez's attitude and was only interested in chasing big paydays. Veteran trainer Ronnie Shields, who had confidently predicted that Terence Crawford would defeat Canelo before their bout, stood firm on his words afterward. Shields explained that he always knew Crawford's quickness, ability to switch between orthodox and southpaw stances, and smart control of distance would expose Canelo's defensive flaws. According to him, Crawford's versatility in attacking, retreating, and adjusting angles made it impossible for Canelo to keep up, ultimately proving why Bud came out on top.
By unanimous decision, you got that. I just thought Crawford was too fast for Canelo. Too many combinations. Canelo doesn't jab anymore. He looks for one shot now. You know, I mean, the end is there for Canelo. And I just think that Crawford was too fast for him, you know, especially in the southpaw position. We all know Canelo have problems with the southpaw. So, you know, and that's why I picked Crawford. I just thought Crawford could be too fast.
Former boxing coach Ronnie Shields praised Terence Crawford for executing a nearly perfect game plan, staying calm under pressure, timing his punches precisely, and capitalizing on every mistake Canelo made. Shields called it a masterclass in strategy and ring IQ, just as he had predicted before the fight. He even suggested that Canelo consider retiring, noting that years of high-level competition have clearly taken a toll on him. On the other hand, Oscar De La Hoya shared a different perspective, saying the decision to retire should be entirely up to Canelo. He advised Canelo to be more careful in choosing his opponents moving forward. De La Hoya also praised Crawford, calling him a rare talent with exceptional timing, counter-punching skills, and a deep understanding of styles. He said the performance was a powerful reminder of why Crawford is considered one of the most adaptable and intelligent fighters in boxing today.
Crawford is older than Canelo, so we can't use the excuse that he's older, right? We can't use the excuse that, oh, well, you know, he moved around too much. Well, it's your job to figure him out, right? Just like Chavez would figure out a fighter, just like I would figure out a fighter, just like any real great fighter can figure styles out. That's your job. I think Crawford did a tremendous job. Kudos to him. Sky's the limit for Crawford, and I really don't know where Canelo goes.
Oscar De La Hoya, the former boxing champion and promoter, continued to share his thoughts on Canelo Alvarez's next move after the historic fight, while also analyzing Terence Crawford's future path. De La Hoya noted that Crawford's confidence is undeniable, and that self-belief will drive him toward even bigger challenges. He observed that Crawford looks comfortable and fully settled at super middleweight, with no real reason to drop back down to 154 pounds. However, De La Hoya suggested Crawford might consider moving up to 160 if a major fight opportunity arises. In his view, the most exciting matchup right now would be against the rising star Vergil Ortiz, a fight he believes would be full of action, excitement, and worthy of Crawford's current standing in the sport.
Crawford at 160. Imagine that. Would be incredible. So there's a good possibility that Crawford will stay at 168. Most likely go down to 160. I don't think he's gonna touch 154. I think he'll stay at 160 eventually and try to find the biggest fights possible. And the biggest fight for him would be a Virgil.
Rolly Romero praised Terrence, while Crawford's incredible performance in the September 13th main event against Canelo Alvarez, saying it takes a special kind of fighter to hand Canelo a loss, and Crawford did exactly that. Romero noted that the early rounds were tightly contested, with Canelo pressing forward and keeping the fight close. But as the bout went on, Crawford began to take full control, setting the pace, landing cleaner shots and dominating round after round. He emphasized that Crawford's ability to adapt mid-fight against such a high-level opponent proves why he's now being recognized as one of the greatest boxers of all time. Romero called it a brilliantly executed and almost unbelievable achievement.
I mean, that performance did something really special for me.
Yeah?
Yeah, a lot more special than what probably anyone else is probably thinking, honestly. I didn't expect Crawford to be that big.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't expect Crawford to be that big, but Canelo did good the first few rounds, first like all the way up to round 4, and then that's when Crawford took over, So I mean, the second half of the fight though, it was all Crawford. There was no question.
Terrence Crawford seems hesitant to face David Benavidez, sharing a mindset similar to that of Canelo Alvarez. The American star earned his fame by defeating the Mexican legend Canelo and taking his titles, but now he appears cautious about stepping into the ring with Benavidez. Following Canelo's loss to Crawford, Benavidez called out Canelo, demanding a showdown to create Mexico's ultimate boxing event. Meanwhile, a former world champion has advised Canelo to retire, believing his best days might be behind him. Crawford acknowledged that Benavidez is a formidable opponent, saying he's not refusing to fight him, but admits the size difference is a major factor. Benavidez stands around 1.80 meters tall and weighs between 88 and 90 kilograms, making him a much bigger fighter. Boxing journalist Dan Rafael also echoed Rolly Romero's view that the early rounds of Canelo versus Crawford were intense and evenly matched. However, he noted that Crawford's precise preparation and flawless execution allowed him to outsmart and outperform the larger, more experienced Canelo. Rafael praised Crawford's strategic patience, discipline, and sharp mindset, pointing out how he turned what many saw as an impossible challenge into a decisive victory, solidifying himself as one of boxing's most complete and determined champions.
Thought he did a great job. I thought it was close. I had Canelo ahead in the early going, but I thought Crawford did an amazing job closing that fight down in the last few rounds, where he really started to back the supposed bigger guy up, although for me, they looked about the same size. But that was a brilliant performance, and what can you say? I mean, you got to give him his credit. He created a lot of history. He dreamt this fight. He willed it to happen. A lot of people, not me, but a lot of people laughed at him, said, forget about it, no chance against a bigger guy like that.
Dan Rafael later explained that while a Canelo-Crawford rematch would definitely attract massive attention, it might not be the smartest or most beneficial move for either fighter right now. He suggested that both men should instead look for other high-stakes matchups that make more sense for where they are in their careers. Rafael advised Canelo to carefully weigh the pros and cons of fighting again, and to think seriously about who, if anyone, he should face next. As for Crawford, Rafael noted that this historic win has boosted his status to the point where every top contender in the sport will want a shot at him. However, he cautioned that Crawford needs to be selective, considering factors like weight divisions, the scale of potential events, and championship titles on the line. Rafael mentioned possible future opponents such as the winner of Chris Eubank Jr. versus Conor Benn or Hamza Shiraz, fights that could offer both excitement and legacy value.
Winner of Eubank and Ben, the Hamza Shiraz, I mean, those types of names. He's got mandatories. Mabili got the draw tonight in a great fight. There's other fighters that have belts and interim belts and blah, blah, blah. So, nobody's going to rush Terrence Crawford into his next fight. He'll take his time, and, whatever the next fight is, it's going to be a big one because, his name is even greater now than what happened going into this fight for him. So he beats Canelo Alvarez,
Lois Schofield, who had been confident that Canelo Alvarez would win on September 13th, admitted he was stunned by Terrence Crawford's total domination. Schofield said he expected to see a vintage Canelo performance, but instead watched the Mexican star fall completely short. For the first time, he expressed doubt about Canelo's future in the sport, questioning whether retirement might be near. Breaking down the fight, Schofield pointed out that Crawford outclassed Canelo in every area: speed, timing, and ring control, building a huge lead and cruising to a decisive victory. What do you think? Should Canelo hang up his gloves or accept David Benavidez's challenge? And who should Bud Crawford face next? Share your thoughts in the comments below.
I was hurt, I ain't gonna lie, because I've been a fan of Canelo since I was a kid. So my heart, a tear almost came on my eye, I ain't gonna lie, because it felt like, that Canelo's done. But I just think he was a little off that night. I think he can, make a big comeback. But to Crawford, man, he's the greatest of this era. You gotta give it to him, greatest of this era. Nobody's ever done that before, 3-time undisputed. So you gotta take your hats off to Crawford. And I was just shocked that he was able to just dismantle Canelo like that, even with the size difference.